Unlike the gutturals, which we covered in chapters 22 and 23, the type of weakness that we deal with a third hey verb will often create a situation in which when reading the text, you will be parsing a verb and only two of the three root letters in that verb will be evident in the inflected form, because in the inflected forms, the hey of the third hey has disappeared. So for example, with the root bana, which you are quite used to at this point, we have the inflected form tivni, a cal imperfect second feminine singular of bana. We would gloss as you feminine singular will build. Note that the hey is not evident in the inflected form, having been dropped. Likewise with gala, to uncover or go into exile, galiti is a cal perfect first common singular of gala, but the hey of the root is masked, it's hidden if you would say, inside the heric yod of the perfect form, and we would gloss as I uncovered. When reading the text, you do not see the third hey. However, to correctly parse the verb, you must identify the root, including that it has a hey. And to look up a root in a lexicon, you must know all three root letters. Therefore, if you read the text and find a form that only shows you two root letters, you must be able to figure out what is the missing root letter. At this point in your study, once you remove the suffix and prefix letters, if you are left with only two evident root letters, you could have three possible causes. It could be that the verbal root begins with a noon, and that noon has been assimilated. For instance, yitain from the verb natan has had its first noon assimilated into the strong dagesh in the tav. Secondly, you could be dealing with the irregular verbs either lakach or halak. So lakach in the imperfect becomes yikach. Remember that the lamed disappears and is replaced by a strong dagesh. Or halak becomes yelek in the imperfect. In these cases, you have to know the irregularity of the verb to know that the root you must look up is lakach or halak. Now, fortunately, in each of these verbs, they are so common and you know them from vocabulary that you hopefully will not need to look in the lexicon for them. Or thirdly, you may be dealing with a verbal root that ends with a hey. Knowing your memory paradigms well and knowing your vocabulary well will often help you distinguish between these three possible causes of a missing root letter. Sometimes, though, on a rare word, you may not be sure. So suppose you found a form and you have forgotten your vocabulary, which was tivni. Now, hopefully, knowing your vocabulary, you will see the bait in the noon and say, ah, yes, I know this must be a form of bana. But if you didn't, and you decided to look for the root navan, then when in the lexicon you find that there is no such root that makes sense in the context, you will have to come back and say, what is another possible cause of the fact that I only see two root letters? And then maybe you would check bana and find the correct verbal root.